So one of the great stories in the John Bolton book, which looks like just made up stuff to me. Now we've seen a number of these tell-all books, and they all have that same quality. The worst thing in the book doesn't have other witnesses. Have you noticed that? All these tell-all books have the same quality. There are a few little bombshell things in there. They're like, oh man, you can't believe this happened. And what's the next thing you find out about it? No witnesses, except for the person who wrote the book. And if there were other people in the room, they don't remember it happening. They didn't see it. Huh, what a coincidence. So the John Bolton one, which is hilarious, is he says that the president said to President Xi of China that Trump allegedly told Xi that building concentration camps for Uyghurs was fine and he should do more of it. Now, do you think there's any chance that happened? No. There's no chance that happened. And then, as soon as I read that, I'm like, okay, start the timer. Timer's running at 1, 2, there it is. There's the guy who was in the room, I think it was Lighthouser or something, who said, I was in the room. I don't remember anything like that. Now, I think you'd remember something like that. And of course, the story had translators involved, so there's a pretty obvious place where things could have gone wrong if there were translators involved. All right. Now, the other thing you don't know is what Trump's inner strategy was. So you don't know, anytime you see a story of Trump dealing with Putin, Trump dealing with President Xi, Trump dealing with Kim Jong-un, the stories, the criticism stories will typically be of the form, Trump gave them too much, right? You've seen it for Kim, Putin, and now President Xi. The President Trump, oh, he's such a great negotiator, is he? He gave them too much. And it'll be a specific point of something he gave them. In North Korea, the point was that he let Kim do some short-range rocket testing that technically, that he said was okay, that probably wasn't. With Xi, I guess it was something about the tariffs being reduced if Xi would buy more products, which he never did, more foreign products, which he didn't do. And then, of course, you all know the Putin stories. Now, all of these stories are the out-of-context type. If you're looking at a negotiation, which is, first of all, a long-term affair, if you're talking country to country, and has lots of elements, some of those elements may not have anything to do with the thing you're talking about. So in other words, you could be talking about a trade deal, but what you really want is a nuclear missile deal. And everything's sort of connected, right? So maybe you can give something away on a trade deal, but you get something back in some other way, etc. So all of these are out-of-context stories. The other thing you don't know is if Trump gave up something with the hope that would soften them up, maybe set the stage, so that later when you ask for something, you could say, look, we gave you this. Show of goodwill, you got it. Now we're asking you for this. I'd like a similar show of goodwill. Because reciprocity, if I've taught you nothing, is very powerful. Now, does reciprocity work in international deals? Well, I think that's a real question. Because if you're dealing with somebody who sees themselves as your enemy, doing something nice for them with nothing in return might be just free money. Hey, thanks for the free money. We're going to kill you anyway. But if you were dealing with, let's say, Great Britain, if you're dealing with France, and let's say there was a situation in which the United States could do something that would benefit them, and we didn't have any immediate thing that we would get back. It wasn't a tit for tat. It's just something we could do for France. We had the ability. We had the opportunity. We could do it. They couldn't do it for themselves. So we just do it because we're allies. Is that a good play? Yeah, it's totally a good play with an ally. So because you assume that allies are often going to be in a situation where you need to ask a small favor, sometimes even a big favor. But if you've primed the situation with reciprocity, France someday will say, you know, it's sort of like Lafayette we're here, sort of situation, that even military alliances, the reciprocity of a military alliance can last generations. So the fact that we fought on the same side as Great Britain, same side as France, in their country, in their area, not in their country, in the case of Great Britain, but those feelings can last generations. So yeah, reciprocity is very strong. So if you see the president testing reciprocity, in other words, giving something that clearly any objective person would say, ooh, it looks like you gave a little bit too much there and didn't ask for something in return, you'd have to ask yourself, is he testing the waters? Is he just testing to see if it does work? Because imagine if that worked. Imagine if you were dealing with somebody who really did just want to have a deal that works for both sides. They weren't trying to destroy your country. They just wanted something that works now and will work in the future. Reciprocity is worth testing. Now, if it doesn't work, you go to Plan B. Plan B just got implemented. Plan B is where Trump just signed some document to hold the Chinese authorities responsible for the Uyghur prison camps. That's what Plan B looks like. Okay? Now, when you treat somebody like an ally, but they're not, one of two things can happen. Either you've just given them free money. Oh, thanks for that favor. You're going to get nothing in return, and we're going to destroy you. That's bad. But persuasion-wise, you can sometimes turn somebody into something by treating them like that thing you wanted them to turn into. In other words, you could actually turn an enemy into a friend by acting like a friend. Not every time. All right, none of this persuasion stuff works every time. But it's a good play to simply act like you're a friend, and it will cause the other person to not know what to do. Well, I thought we were kind of frenemies, but this person keeps acting like I'm an actual friend. That is very persuasive. It's worth a try. I don't think it worked. In the case of China, I don't think it worked, right? But it was worth a try.